Subscribe to Infidelity Tales Lab. Now let's begin. The coffee had gone cold in my hand when my phone rang. Unknown number, local area code. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something made me answer. Is this Drew Holland? The voice was crisp, professional, edged with urgency. Speaking. Mr. Holland, this is Karen Webster, principal at Roosevelt Middle School. We have a situation that requires your immediate attention. Your daughter has been expelled, and we need a parent here within the hour. I set down my coffee mug carefully, as if sudden movements might shatter whatever reality I was in. I'm sorry, there must be some mistake. I don't have any children. A pause. Mr. Holland, I'm looking at the enrollment documents right now. Amber Dalton, age 13. You're listed as the father, complete with your social security number and birth certificate. That's impossible. My mind raced through the past. No one-night stands gone wrong. No desperate calls. No child support payments. Nothing. I would know if I had a child. I'll send you a photo. The principal's voice had shifted from professional to cautious. Your email on file is drew.holland.architect@gmail.com. Yes, but my phone buzzed. I pulled away from my ear and opened the image. A girl stared back at me from what looked like a school ID photo. Dark blonde hair, sharp nose, hazel eyes that held defiance even in a standard portrait. She looked nothing like me. But in the background of the photo, partly visible, was another face. A woman's face. And that face I knew. My blood went cold. Mr. Holland? The principal's voice seemed distant now. We really do need you here. There was an incident involving another student, and I'll be there in 20 minutes. I drove to Roosevelt Middle School in a haze, gripping the steering wheel too tight. 15 years. It had been 15 years since I'd seen Lisa McClure. College sweethearts who crashed and burned junior year when I caught her stealing money from my wallet. Not enough to be a big deal. $20 here, 40 there, but enough that I'd felt betrayed. She'd cried, promised to pay me back, made excuses about her family situation. I'd ended it anyway. Clean break. Or so I thought. The school was a sprawling brick building in a decent neighborhood, the kind with trimmed hedges and a fresh coat of paint on the security gates. Inside, fluorescent lights hummed overhead as a student aide directed me to the main office. Karen Webster turned out to be a woman in her 50s with steel gray hair and reading glasses on a chain. She stood when I entered, extending a hand. Mr. Holland, thank you for coming so quickly. I need to understand what's happening here. I kept my voice level. I was told a child has my name on her birth certificate, but I have no knowledge of any daughter. Perhaps we should discuss this with Ms. McClure present. She gestured to a door marked conference room. She's waiting with Amber. My heart hammered as I followed her. The door opened, and there she was. Lisa McClure had changed, but not in ways that mattered. She'd gained weight in her face, lost some of the angular beauty she'd had at 20. Her hair was darker now, pulled back in a messy bun. But her eyes, those calculating eyes I remembered, met mine with something between fear and practiced innocence. Drew. Her voice cracked slightly. I'm so sorry you had to find out like this. The girl sat beside her, arms crossed, staring at the wall. Up close, I could see she had Lisa's mouth, the same slight overbite. Nothing of me in her at all. What the hell is this, Lisa? Principal Webster cleared her throat. Mr. Holland, please. We're here to discuss Amber's expulsion and the necessary steps. With all due respect, ma'am, I need to speak with Ms. McClure first. I pulled out the chair across from them, sat down slowly. Because according to me, I have never had a child with this woman. Lisa's performance was Oscar-worthy. Tears welled up immediately. Drew, I know this is a shock. When I got pregnant, I was scared. You'd broken up with me, and I didn't know how to tell you. By the time I worked up the courage, you'd already graduated and moved away. I tried to find you, but you're lying. The tears stopped. Just for a second, something cold flashed across her face before the mask slipped back on. Drew, please. Amber is your daughter. I have the birth certificate, medical records, everything. A birth certificate I never signed, that I never even knew existed. Principal Webster looked between us, clearly uncomfortable. Perhaps this is a conversation best had privately. But I do need to inform you both that Amber is being expelled for physically assaulting another student. The girl required stitches. I looked at Amber. She still wouldn't meet my eyes. What happened? I asked her directly. She was talking shit, Amber muttered. Language, Lisa snapped. About what? I pressed. Amber's jaw tightened. About my dad being a deadbeat. Said her mom told her you'd abandoned us. The room went quiet. Amber, honey, let's not. Lisa started. Who's her mom? I interrupted. Stacy Hess. She lives in our building. Amber finally looked at me. Everyone knows our business because my mom tells everybody. How you ran off when she got pregnant. How you've never paid a dime. How we're barely surviving. Each word was a punch. I looked at Lisa, really looked at her. She'd gone pale. That's quite a story, I said quietly. Must be hard, raising a child alone. Having to tell everyone what a terrible person I am. Drew, what's your birth date, Amber? December 18th, she said. What? I did the math backward. Conception would have been around March. Lisa, we broke up in February of our junior year. I know, but you remember, we hooked up at that party. We never hooked up after we broke up. Not once. I leaned forward. I started dating Celeste Chase 2 weeks later. We were together until graduation. Lisa's mask was cracking. You're misremembering. It was after spring break. That party at Marcus's apartment. Marcus's apartment burned down during winter break. There was never a spring party there. Principal Webster was watching this exchange with growing alarm. She opened a folder on the table. Mr. Holland, I have documentation here that shows. Forged, I said flatly. All of it has to be forged. I'd like to request a DNA test. No. Lisa stood up so fast her chair scraped back. You don't get to waltz back into our lives after 13 years and demand. I was never in your life. I cut her off. But apparently, you've been in mine. Using my name, my social security number. That's identity theft, Lisa. Amber was looking at her mother now, confusion written across her young face. Mom, your father is just upset, Lisa said quickly. He's trying to get out of his responsibilities. My responsibilities? I'd like to see every document you have, every form you filed, every claim you've made using my name. I stood, pulling out my phone, and I'm calling my lawyer. Right now. Drew, please, think about Amber. I'm thinking about her. If she's been lied to her entire life, she deserves to know the truth. I turned to Principal Webster. Ma'am, I'm going to need copies of all enrollment documents, and I'll be contacting the police about potential identity fraud. Lisa's face transformed. The tears vanished, replaced by something vicious. You son of a bitch. You think you could just come in here and destroy everything I've built? Everything you've built? I felt ice in my veins. You mean the lies? I gave up everything for that kid. She pointed at Amber, who flinched. You think it's been easy? I've done what I had to do to survive. By framing me as a deadbeat dad? By using my identity? I shook my head. We're done here. Amber, I'm sorry you've been caught in the middle of whatever this is. But you deserve to know the truth, and so do I. I walked out before Lisa could respond, before the principal could stop me, before the rage building in my chest could explode into something ugly. In the hallway, I leaned against the cold wall and dialed my lawyer. Marcus, I said when he answered. Remember when you said your family law expertise was wasted on boring divorces? I've got something interesting for you. 3 hours later, I sat in Marcus Webb's office downtown, a corner suite with a view of the river. He'd been my roommate in college before the apartment fire, and we'd stayed close. Now he was one of the best family law attorneys in the state. Run it by me again, Marcus said, taking notes. She listed you as the father, but you never knew about the kid? Never. No pregnancy scare, no calls, no letters. Nothing. I rubbed my temples. We broke up in February 2011. I was with Celeste by mid-March. Lisa and I never spoke again after the breakup. And the daughter's birthday is December 2011? December 18th. Marcus did the math, nodding. So if Lisa got pregnant right after you broke up, the conception date will be late February, early March. Possible, but we never slept together after the breakup. Not once. I'm certain. Okay. He made another note. What do you remember about the breakup? Any drama? I thought back. She was stealing from me. Small amounts at first, then it escalated. I confronted her. She made excuses about her family needing money. I ended it. She cried, said I was abandoning her. I felt guilty for about a week, then moved on. Did she ever threaten you? Say anything about making you pay? Not directly. She did say. I try to remember. She said I'd regret it, that I was making a huge mistake. I thought she meant I'd miss her. Marcus leaned back. Drew, I need to ask, is there any possibility, any at all, that the child is yours? No. You're certain? I'm certain. I want a DNA test. Can we make that happen? Absolutely. But here's the thing. If she's been claiming you as the father for 13 years, there's going to be a paper trail. Child support claims, welfare applications, maybe even tax filings. This could be much bigger than one fake birth certificate. My stomach dropped. How much bigger? Potentially federal fraud. Identity theft. We're talking serious prison time if we can prove it. He paused. But we need to be smart about this. If we go in guns blazing, she'll destroy evidence. We need to gather everything first. What do you suggest? Marcus smiled, and I recognized the predatory look of a lawyer who'd found a good case. We make her think you're considering playing along. String her along while we investigate. Meanwhile, I file for a paternity test through the courts. She can't refuse that. She'll know something's up. Maybe. But she's been running this con for over a decade. She'll be confident. Arrogant, even. People like that make mistakes when they think they're winning. I nodded slowly. The idea of pretending to believe Lisa's lies made my skin crawl. But Marcus was right. We needed evidence. Hard evidence. There's something else, Marcus added. You said a girl at school mentioned her mother told her you were a deadbeat? Stacy Hess. Yeah. Lives in Lisa's building apparently. I want to talk to her. If Lisa's been telling everyone this story, there might be other people who've heard inconsistencies. Maybe someone who knows more than they should. You think others are involved? I think someone's been helping her maintain this lie for 13 years. You don't pull off identity fraud on this scale alone. A chill ran down my spine. What kind of people would help fake a child's paternity? Marcus's expression darkened. The kind who are running their own cons, Drew. I need you to be prepared for what we might find. This could get ugly. Good, I said. Let get ugly. I want her to pay for every lie she's told. Every document she forged. Every time she used my name to defraud someone. That's the spirit. Marcus stood, extending his hand. We'll start with the DNA test. I'll file the paperwork tomorrow. In the meantime, if Lisa contacts you, be cordial but don't admit to anything. Record every conversation if possible. I will. As I left his office, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. We need to talk. It's not what you think. Please, Drew. For Amber's sake. Lisa. I stared at the message, then typed a response. Fine. Coffee tomorrow. 2 p.m. Bluebird Cafe on Riverside. Her reply came instantly. Thank you. I can explain everything. I doubted that, but I was willing to let her try. Because every word out of her mouth would be another nail in the coffin she'd built for herself. The Bluebird Cafe was busy for a Wednesday afternoon, filled with laptop warriors and business meetings. I arrived early, chose a corner table with a view of the entrance, and set my phone on the table. Recording app ready. Lisa showed up 10 minutes late, looking haggard. No makeup, hair uncombed, wearing yoga pants and an oversized sweatshirt. The damsel in distress routine. She slid into the chair across from me. Thank you for meeting me. You said you could explain. I can. But first, I need you to understand how hard these past 13 years have been. Her voice trembled. Raising Amber alone, working 2 jobs, barely making rent. Lisa, I kept my voice flat. I don't care about your sob story. I want the truth. Her jaw tightened slightly. The truth is that Amber is your daughter. We'll see. I filed for a court-ordered paternity test. Color drained from her face. You what? It'll be processed within 2 weeks. If Amber is my daughter, I'll take responsibility. If she's not, I'll let the implication hang. She is yours. Lisa's voice rose, drawing glances from nearby tables. She lowered it quickly. Drew, please. Think about what this will do to Amber. She's already been through so much. Then the test will confirm I'm her father, and we'll move forward from there. Lisa's hands shook as she reached for the coffee cup in front of her. I noticed something then, a ring on her left hand. Not an engagement ring. A signet ring, masculine too large for her finger. She caught me looking and tucked her hand under the table. Whose ring is that? What? The ring you're wearing? Looks like a man's ring. She hesitated, then pulled her hand back up, defensive. It's Shane's. My boyfriend. He lets me wear it sometimes. Shane, I repeated. Shane Kaplan. Her eyes widened. How do you? I did my homework, Lisa. You've been with him for what? 5 years? Lives with you and Amber. He's been good to us. Better than you ever. I was never given the chance to be anything to Amber because I didn't know she existed. I leaned forward. But Shane knows about me, right? Knows all about the deadbeat dad who abandoned his girlfriend. Lisa's expression shifted, became calculating. What exactly are you accusing me of? I'm not accusing you of anything. Yet, I pulled out my phone, opened a document, slid it across the table. But I'm curious about this. It was a screenshot of a social media post. Lisa's Facebook profile from 8 years ago. A photo of her, very pregnant, with a caption, "Can't wait to meet my little girl." Hashtag single mom, hashtag blessed, hashtag baby daddy drama. Tagged in the post was a man named Ralph Baker. Lisa stared at it, her face going white. Where did you get this? The internet is forever. Deleted doesn't mean gone. I pulled the phone back. Ralph Baker. Who is he? Nobody. An ex. I was confused about who the father was. So you've accused multiple men of being Amber's father? No. I thought maybe, but then I realized it was you. Lisa, stop. You're making it worse. I sat back. Here's what I think happened. You got pregnant by Ralph, or Shane, or whoever. You needed money, support, maybe insurance. So you decided to pin it on someone who couldn't defend himself. Someone who'd moved away. Someone whose identity you could steal because you knew his social security number, his birthday, all his information from when we were together. That's insane. Is it? Because I've been doing some digging. Want to know what else I found? Her silence was answer enough. You filed for state assistance using my name. SNAP benefits, childcare subsidies, even applied for the Earned Income Tax Credit listing me as a non-custodial parent. You've been collecting money that should have gone to actual struggling families. That's not true. It is true. And here's the kicker. You never filed for child support. Not once. Know why? Because to get child support, we'd have to go through the courts. There'd be a paternity test. You'd be exposed. Lisa stood up abruptly. I don't have to listen to this. Sit down. Something in my voice made her pause. Maybe she heard the steel underneath. Maybe she realized she'd miscalculated. She sat. I'm going to make you an offer, I said quietly. One time, take it or leave it. Her eyes narrowed. What kind of offer? You come clean. Admit that you lied about me being the father. Sign whatever documents my lawyer draws up stating that you committed fraud. Return every penny you stole using my identity. And in exchange, I won't press charges. You're crazy if you think. The alternative is I pursue this criminally. Identity theft. Welfare fraud. Tax fraud. You're looking at serious prison time. Lisa. Shane too if he was involved. And Amber? She'd go into foster care. It was a bluff, partially. I had no idea if Shane was complicit yet. But the mention of Amber in foster care made Lisa flinch. You wouldn't do that to her. Try me. We stared at each other across the table. In her eyes, I saw desperation mixed with something else. Defiance. Pride. The same arrogance that made her think she could get away with this in the first place. I need time to think, she finally said. You have until the DNA results come back. After that, the offer expires. She stood again, grabbed her purse. You know what? Screw you, Drew. You think you're so smart, so righteous. But you have no idea what I've been through. What I've had to do to survive. Survive. I let out a bitter laugh. You're driving a 2023 Lexus, Lisa. I saw in the parking lot. That's not surviving. That's living well off stolen money. Her face went red. That's Shane's car. Registered to you. In my name. Because guess what? You used my identity to co-sign on a car loan too. She opened her mouth, closed it, then turned and walked out without another word. I sat there for a moment, breathing hard. Then I picked up my phone and stopped the recording. My phone rang almost immediately. Marcus, tell me you got everything, he said. Every word. You were listening. Damn right I was. Drew, she just admitted a half of it. The car loan alone is fraud. And that bit about Ralph Baker? That's gold. Can we track him down? Already on it. My investigator is pulling his information now. Marcus paused. But listen, she's going to panic. She's going to talk to Shane, and they're going to either destroy evidence or come at you hard. We need to move fast. What's next? Come to my office. I want to show you what else we found. What did you find? Let's just say Lisa's been busy. Very busy, and you're not her only victim. Marcus's office had transformed into a command center. Papers covered his desk, sticky notes on the walls, a whiteboard filled with names and dates. Welcome to the Lisa McClure show, Marcus said, gesturing to the chaos. Population, too damn many. What is all this? This, he pointed to the whiteboard, is everyone we've found who might be connected to Lisa's schemes. And buddy, it's worse than we thought. The names swam before my eyes. Ralph Baker, Shane Kaplan, Stacy Hess, Owen Coyle, Juan Baker. More names I didn't recognize. Juan Baker is Ralph's brother, Marcus explained. Both of them were in Lisa's life around the time she got pregnant. Ralph denies being Amber's father. Says Lisa ghosted him when he asked for a paternity test. So she moved on to the next target. You. But here's where it gets interesting. Marcus pointed to Stacy Hess. Remember her? The mother of the girl Amber fought with. Yeah. She's not just a neighbor. She's Shane Kaplan's sister. That stopped me cold. What? Shane and Stacy are siblings. She moved into Lisa's building 3 years ago. And according to my investigator, she's also running scams. Different kind. Romance fraud, online catfishing, that sort of thing. You think they're working together? I know they are. Marcus pulled out a folder, spread photos across the desk. These are bank records we obtained through, let's call it creative legal means. Lisa, Shane, and Stacy share accounts. Money flows between them constantly. They're running this like a business. I studied the records. Deposits, transfers, withdrawals. Thousands of dollars moving in complex patterns. What's the play? I asked. The play is we've been targeting men with good credit, stable jobs, identifiable patterns. Lisa's role seems to be the sob story. Single mom, struggling, needs help. Shane handles the technical side, forged documents, fake identities. Stacy runs interference, spreads rumors, controls narratives in their social circles. How many victims? At least 3 we've confirmed. You, a guy named Devin Harden who thought he was paying child support for 2 years before realizing the kid wasn't his, and Malcolm Hogan, who's currently making payments for a child he's never even met. Jesus. It gets better. Or worse, depending on your perspective. Marcus pulled up a document on his computer. Amber's real father? We found him. Who? Owen Coyle. Convicted felon. Currently serving time for drug distribution. He and Lisa had a relationship right around the time she got pregnant. He found out about Amber 2 years ago, tried to establish parental rights, but Lisa blocked him. Told the courts he was dangerous. Got a restraining order. So she's keeping Amber away from her real father while framing innocent men? Exactly. And here's the kicker. Owen wants to help. His lawyer reached out to me this morning. He's willing to testify that Lisa told him she was going to make someone else pay for Amber. I sat down heavily. The scope of this was overwhelming. This isn't just fraud. It's organized crime. Marcus finished. Small scale, but organized. And we're going to bring them all down. But first, we need to make them show their hand completely. Ow! Marcus smiled. You're going to give them exactly what they want. Which is money. Lots of it. You're going to offer Lisa a settlement. Enough to make her greedy. Enough to make her slip up. And then we watch her implicate herself and everyone involved. We'll have federal agents, recordings, bank records, everything. They won't just go to prison, Drew. They'll be destroyed. I looked at the whiteboard again, at all those names. All those victims. All those lies. How much? I asked. How much what? How much am I offering Lisa? Marcus leaned back, calculating. 50,000. Enough to make her think she's won. And if she takes it, she'll have to sign documents admitting paternity fraud. She won't read them carefully if she thinks she's getting paid. And Shane and Stacy? They'll want their cut. That's when we get them too. I nodded slowly. It was risky. It was manipulative. It was exactly what they deserved. Let's do it. Marcus extended his hand. Welcome to the revenge business, my friend. Let's make these bastards pay. As we shook, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You made a big mistake today. Back off, or things get ugly. S. Shane Kaplan. Threatening me already. I showed Marcus the text. He laughed. Perfect. He's scared. Scared people make mistakes. He pulled out his own phone. Let me get my investigator on this. We're going to trace that number, track his movements, document everything. What they do try something. Get physical. They won't. They're cons, not thugs. But just in case. Marcus opened a drawer, pulled out a business card. My cousin runs a private security firm. He owes me a favor. Consider yourself protected. I took the card. Preston Blanchard, Executive Protection Services. This is really happening, I said quietly. Yeah. And Drew? We're going to win. Because unlike them, we're actually good at this. I left Marcus's office as the sun set over the city, painting the sky orange and purple. Somewhere out there, Lisa McClure thought she'd gotten away with 13 years of lies. Shane Kaplan thought he could intimidate me with a text message. Stacey Hess thought her little empire of fraud was untouchable. They were all wrong, and I was going to make sure they knew it. My apartment felt empty when I got home. I'd been living alone since my engagement to Celeste ended 2 years ago. She'd wanted kids immediately. I'd wanted to wait until my architecture firm was more stable. We'd parted amicably, but I still miss coming home to someone. I poured a bourbon, sat on my couch, and pulled out my laptop. If I was going to beat Lisa at her own game, I needed to understand her completely. Facebook first. Her profile was public, a gold mine of information. Photos of Amber growing up, each one captioned with variations of single mom life and doing it alone. Comments from friends offering support, sympathy, anger at the deadbeat dad. Lisa played the victim perfectly. I scrolled back years looking for patterns. There, a photo from 7 years ago. Lisa and Shane at a beach, his arm around her. Caption, finally found my soulmate. Better late than never. Before Shane, there were photos with other men. One tagged as Ralph Baker, rough-looking guy with tattoos. Another man I didn't recognize. Then older photos from college. I stopped at one from our senior year. A party photo. Lisa and me, smiling, my arm around her shoulders. I remember that night. It was a week before I caught her stealing from me. She looked happy. I looked naive. My phone rang. Celeste Chase. Hey, I answer surprised. Drew, I heard something strange today. One of my yoga students was talking about a friend whose ex got contacted about a daughter he didn't know about. I thought, is that you? Celeste still knew me better than most people. Yeah, it's me. Oh my God. Are you okay? I'm fine. It's complicated. Do you want to talk about it? I can come over. I hesitated. Celeste and I had stayed friends, but inviting her over felt like crossing a line. Then again, I could use an outside perspective. Actually, yeah, that would be great. She arrived 30 minutes later with Thai takeout and a bottle of wine. We sat at my kitchen counter, and I told her everything. She listened without interrupting, her dark eyes growing wider with each detail. That's insane, she finally said. Drew, this woman is seriously disturbed. I know. And you're sure the kid isn't yours? I mean, not even a possibility? Zero possibility. You and I got together 2 weeks after Lisa and I broke up. You know how careful I was. I would have told you if there'd been any chance of a pregnancy. Celeste nodded. I remember. You were almost paranoid about it. She paused. So what's your next move? I'm going to offer her money. Make her think she's won. Then use it to trap her. That's... Celeste shook her head. Risky. What if she just takes the money and runs? She won't. She's too arrogant. And she'll have to sign documents to get it. Documents that incriminate her? Exactly. Celeste studied me for a long moment. You've changed. The Drew I knew would have just let the lawyers handle everything. This feels personal. It is personal. She used my name. My identity. Made me out to be a deadbeat dad for 13 years. People I've never met think I'm scum because of her lies. And the girl? Amber. That one hit harder. She's a victim too. She thinks I abandoned her. She's been fighting kids at school because of lies her mother told. Are you going to tell her the truth? Eventually. But first, I need to prove it. I took a drink of wine. The DNA test will show I'm not her father. Then we'll find her real father, Owen Coyle, and maybe he can actually be there for her. Owen Coyle? Isn't he in prison? I've forgotten how well-connected Celeste was in legal circles. Her sister was a prosecutor. You know him? I know of him. Drug dealer, right? But he's getting out soon. Like within the year. She frowned. Drew, if he's Amber's real father and he's been kept from her, that's another lawsuit entirely. Yeah, Marcus mentioned that. Marcus Webb? You're working with him? Celeste smiled. Good. He's ruthless. You'll need that. We ate in silence for a moment. Then Celeste said, I want to help. Celeste, you don't need to. I want to. This woman hurt you. And she's hurting that kid. Let me help however I can. I looked at her, this woman I'd almost married, and felt a surge of gratitude. Thank you. Besides, she added with a wry smile, I've always been better at research than you. Let me dig into Lisa's past. See what else I can find. You do that. Drew, you're one of the good ones. You don't deserve this. So yeah, I'll help you take her down. We spent the next 2 hours going through Lisa's social media, cross-referencing names and dates. Celeste had a knack for finding connections I'd missed. She discovered that Stacy Hess had 3 different Facebook profiles under different names. That Shane Kaplan had been arrested twice for identity theft in his 20s. That Lisa had moved addresses 6 times in the past 10 years, always staying one step ahead of someone or something. They're professional, Celeste said finally. This isn't amateur hour. They've been doing this for a long time, which means there are probably more victims we haven't found yet. Probably. She closed her laptop. Drew, be careful. These people have a lot to lose. They might get desperate. I know. She stood, gathered her things. At the door, she turned back. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. You could have just cleared your name and walked away. But you're fighting for that girl too. That's the Drew I remember. After she left, I sat in the darkness of my living room, thinking about Amber. 13 years old, expelled from school, convinced her father had abandoned her. She didn't deserve any of this. Neither did I. My phone buzzed. Another text from Shane's number. Last warning. Walk away. I smiled coldly and typed back. Make me. The war had begun. The next morning, I called in sick to work. My firm could survive without me for a few days. I had good partners who could handle current projects. This was more important. I met with Preston Blanchard at a coffee shop near his security office. He was exactly what I expected. Ex-military, buzz-cut, observant eyes that cataloged every person in the room. Marcus filled me in, he said, shaking my hand. Identity fraud, organized scheme, possible threats. You need protection or surveillance. Both, maybe. Depends on how bold they get. Preston nodded. I pulled Shane Kaplan's record. 2 arrests, no convictions. Smart guy or lucky. Either way, he's not someone who gets his hands dirty. If he wanted to hurt you, he'd hire someone. Great. That's comforting. Actually, it is. Means we can track his movements, see who he talks to, build a conspiracy case. Preston pulled out a tablet. Show me a photo. This is Shane leaving Lisa's apartment this morning. My guy's been on them since last night. The photo showed a man in his 30s, athletic build, baseball cap, carrying a duffel bag. Where'd he go? Storage unit on the east side. Stayed for 40 minutes. Came out with nothing. He's hiding something, or moving it. We'll keep watching. Preston swiped to another photo. This is Stacy Hess. She visited the same storage unit 2 hours later. They're panicking. Good. Panic people make mistakes. Preston leaned forward. But Drew, I need you to understand something. If this goes south, if they come at you physically, you call me immediately. Don't try to be a hero. I'm not looking for a fight. Maybe not. But they might bring one to you anyway. We talk strategy for another hour. Preston would maintain surveillance on Lisa, Shane, and Stacy. He'd document everything. Where they went, who they met, what they did. If the police eventually got involved, we'd have a timeline of their activities. I left the meeting feeling more confident. I had a lawyer, a security team, evidence building. Lisa's house of cards was starting to shake. My phone rang. Marcus, DNA test is scheduled for Monday. Court order came through. Lisa can't refuse. Will she show up? She has to. If she doesn't, that's contempt of court. Either way, we win. He paused. But Drew, there's something else. We got a hit on Malcolm Hogan. The other victim? Yeah, he wants to talk to you. Says he's been paying Lisa $300 a month for 4 years. Never met the kid. Never even got a photo. Jesus. Where is he? Local. Works as a teacher at Jefferson High. I gave him your number. He'll be calling you this afternoon. Thanks, Marcus. We're gonna get them, Drew. All of them. I hope he was right. Malcolm Hogan turned out to be a soft-spoken man in his 40s, wearing corduroy pants and a sweater vest. We met at a park near his school, walking the trail while he told his story. I met Lisa at a bar 5 years ago, he said quietly. I was going through a divorce. She was sympathetic. We talked all night. One thing led to another, and he shrugged. It was one time. I thought we used protection, but she called me a month later saying she was pregnant. Did you ask for a paternity test? She said it would insult her, that she wasn't that kind of person. I was stupid. I believed her. Malcolm's voice cracked. When the baby was born, she sent me photos. A beautiful little girl. She said she just needed help with expenses, nothing formal. I started sending money through Venmo. How much? $300 a month. For 4 years. He did the math. $14,000 for $100. Did you ever meet the child? No. Lisa always had excuses. The baby was sick, she was sleeping, they were out of town. I thought maybe she was ashamed of me or something. I just wanted to do the right thing. He stopped walking, turned to face me. Then last month, I was at a school basketball game. I saw Lisa there with her daughter. The girl was black, Mr. Holland. I'm white. So unless she's adopted, she's not yours. No, she's not. Malcolm's hands clenched. I confronted Lisa afterward. She laughed, said I couldn't prove anything, that I'd given her money willingly. Then she threatened to tell my school that I'd been harassing her and her daughter if I went to the police. That's extortion. I know, but I was scared. I have tenure, a good reputation. I couldn't risk it. How did you find me? Your lawyer contacted me, said there might be others, that we could build a case together. Malcolm looked at me with desperate hope. Can we stop her? Yes, I said firmly. We can. We will. We walked back to the parking lot in silence. Malcolm gave me a thumb drive with all his records, Venmo transactions, text messages, photos Lisa had sent him. More evidence for the pile. Thank you, he said as we parted, for not giving up, for fighting back. Thank you for trusting me with this. Driving home, I thought about Malcolm. A good man, a teacher, who'd tried to do the right thing and been exploited for it. How many others were out there? How many men had Lisa targeted over the years? My phone buzzed. Devin Harden, another victim. Marcus must have given him my number too. Can we meet? I have information that might help. Devin. I called him. Younger voice, maybe late 20s. Mr. Holland? Thank you for calling back. Please call me Drew. What information do you have? I dated Lisa 2 years ago. Brief thing didn't work out. 3 months later, she called saying she was pregnant. I was skeptical, asked for a paternity test. She refused, got hostile. I backed off, figured if the kid was really mine, she'd have to prove it eventually. Smart move. Not that smart. She's been destroying my credit, using my information to open accounts, take out loans. I didn't realize until I tried to buy a car and got denied. My credit score dropped 200 points. How long has this been going on? At least a year, maybe longer. I've been working with the credit bureaus to dispute everything, but it's a nightmare. Do you have documentation? All of it. Credit reports, loan applications with my forged signature, everything. Can you send it to my lawyer? Marcus Webb. Already did. That's how I got your number. I like Devin. He was proactive, organized. Have you contacted the police? Yes. They said it was a civil matter, that I needed to sue her myself. We're building a criminal case. Federal charges. The more evidence we have, the stronger our case. Whatever you need, I'm in. After we hung up, I realized something. Lisa hadn't just targeted random men. She'd targeted specific types. Successful, professional, kind-hearted men who wouldn't fight back. Malcolm was a teacher. Devin worked in nonprofit management. I was an architect. We were all nice guys who'd rather send money than cause a scene. She'd underestimated us. I texted Marcus, how many more victims do you think there are? His response came quickly. Could be dozens. I'm compiling a list. This is going to be bigger than we thought. Good. The bigger the case, the longer the prison sentence. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Amber, this girl who'd been used as a weapon her entire life. What would happen to her when Lisa went to prison? Would Owen Coyle step up? Would she go into foster care? Maybe I couldn't be her father, but I could make sure she had a chance at a real life. A truthful life. My phone lit up with a new email. The subject line made my blood run cold. You've been warned. I opened it. A photo of my apartment building, taken from across the street. Recent, based on my car in the parking lot. No message, just a photo. I called Preston immediately. They're surveilling you, he confirmed. Probably trying to scare you. I'll have someone at your building within the hour. Should I go somewhere else? No. Stay put. If they try anything, we'll catch them in the act. I sat in my dark living room, looking out the window at the street below. Somewhere out there, someone was watching. Waiting. Let them watch. Let them wait. I wasn't backing down. The DNA test was in 3 days. After that, everything would change. And Lisa McClure's world would come crashing down. Monday morning arrived cold and gray. I met Marcus outside the courthouse where the paternity test would be administered. He wore his best suit, all business. Ready? He asked. Born ready. Lisa showed up 10 minutes late with Amber in tow. The girl looked miserable, arms crossed, avoiding eye contact. Shane Kaplan walked beside them, his presence aggressive and territorial. Mr. Holland, Shane said, extending his hand. I didn't take it. Mr. Kaplan. We don't have to do this, he continued. This is hurting Amber. Can't you just be reasonable? I'm being perfectly reasonable. This test will prove the truth, one way or another. The truth is that you're a coward who... Shane, don't. Lisa cut him off. She looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. Drew, please. Think about what this is doing to our daughter. She's not our daughter. That's the whole point of this test. We filed into the testing facility, a sterile room with fluorescent lights and medical equipment. A technician explained the process, a simple cheek swab for DNA collection. Results would take 10 business days, but could be expedited for an additional fee. Expedited, I said. I'll pay whatever it costs. The technician swabbed my cheek first, then turned to Amber. The girl looked terrified. It's okay, honey, Lisa cooed. It doesn't hurt. Why are we doing this? Amber asked quietly. I thought you said he was my dad. He is, sweetie. This is just a formality. Then why does he look so mad? Out of the mouths of babes. I softened my expression, looked at Amber directly. I'm not mad at you. None of this is your fault. She studied me, those hazel eyes searching. Did you really abandon us? No, I didn't. Then why? Amber. That's enough, Lisa snapped. The technician finished the swab, sealed it in a bag. Results will be ready in 5 days with expedited processing, she said. The court will receive them directly. Outside the courthouse, Shane got in my face. You think you're smart, don't you? Think you've got this all figured out? I think the truth will speak for itself. The truth is you're trying to destroy a family. And trust me, that's not going to end well for you. Preston appeared at my elbow. I hadn't even seen him arrive. Is there a problem here? Shane looked at Preston, seemed to reassess the situation. No problem. Just a friendly conversation. Didn't look friendly. Preston's voice was flat, professional, dangerous. Shane backed off, but his eyes promised violence. He took Lisa's arm, led her and Amber away. You okay? Preston asked. Fine. Thanks for showing up. I've been here the whole time. You just didn't see me. He nodded toward a sedan across the street. My partner's recording everything. If Shane makes a move, we'll have it documented. Marcus joined us, looking satisfied. That went well. They're scared, I observed. Good. Scare people make mistakes. Speaking of which, I got a call from the FBI this morning. That stopped me. The FBI? Your case caught someone's attention. Specifically, an agent named Young Archer. He works financial crimes, identity theft. He wants to meet with us. When? Tomorrow. His office, downtown. Meeting with the FBI meant this was becoming real. Federal charges, serious consequences. Part of me felt satisfied. Another part felt the weight of what we were about to unleash. Drew, Marcus said quietly. You can still back out. Take a settlement, clear your name, move on. No. You're sure? Because once we involve the FBI, there's no going back. Lisa will go to prison. Shane too. Stacy. Maybe others. Amber will lose her mother. Amber's already lost her mother. She just doesn't know it yet. I looked at where Lisa's car had been, now gone. That woman in there? She's not a mother. She's a con artist who used her own child as bait. Marcus nodded. Okay then. Tomorrow at 10. Special Agent Young Archer was younger than I expected, maybe early 30s, with sharp features and an intensity that filled the room. His office was sparse, desk, computer, filing cabinets, nothing personal. Mr. Holland, thank you for coming in. He shook my hand firmly. Mr. Webb has brought me up to speed on your case. I have to say, it's one of the more elaborate schemes I've seen recently. How many cases like this do you handle? Identity theft? Hundreds per year. But organized family fraud networks? Maybe a dozen. Most are isolated incidents. What makes yours interesting is the systematic approach. Multiple victims, coordinated efforts, long-term planning. He pulled up a file on his computer, turned the screen so we could see. We've been watching Shane Kaplan for 6 months. Different case, unrelated to yours. He popped up in connection with a credit card fraud ring. So he's done this before, I said. Many times. And Stacy Hess has her own file. Romance scams, online fraud, identity theft. Between the two of them, they've defrauded dozens of people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And Lisa McClure, is interesting. She has no prior record, no arrests, no complaints. She's the clean face of the operation, the sympathetic victim, the struggling single mother. Archer leaned forward, which makes her the most dangerous of the three. How so? Because people trust her. They don't trust Shane. He looks like trouble. They might not trust Stacy. But Lisa? She's everyone's neighbor, everyone's friend. She's the one who gets past people's defenses. Marcus pulled out his folder. We have 3 confirmed victims besides Drew. Malcolm Hogan, Devin Hardin, and Ralph Baker. There are probably more. There are definitely more, Archer said. We've identified at least 7 other men who've sent Lisa money over the past decade. Some knew about a supposed child, others didn't. The amounts range from a few $100s to tens of thousands. Jesus, I breathed. The question is, can we prove it? In court, beyond reasonable doubt. Archer looked at me. Your case is strong. DNA test, forged documents, identity theft. But we need to connect Lisa to Shane and Stacy definitively. Show this is a conspiracy, not just one person's mistakes. We have bank records showing shared accounts. Marcus offered. That's good, but we need more. Communications showing planning. Proof they worked together to target victims. Archer drummed his fingers on the desk. I'd like to run a sting operation. What kind of sting? We make Lisa an offer she can't refuse. Money, lots of it. But to get it, she has to bring Shane and Stacy into the conversation. We record everything, get them all on tape admitting to the scheme. It was my plan, but official. Federal. I'm in. Drew, Marcus warned. This could get dangerous. I don't care. If this is what it takes to stop them, I'll do it. Archer studied me. You understand you'd be wearing a wire? Meeting with people who've threatened you? There's risk involved. I understand. And you're willing to do this, knowing it could put a 13-year-old girl's mother in prison. That one hurt. But I thought about Malcolm, sending money for a child that wasn't his. Devin, watching his credit destroyed. The other 7 victims Archer mentioned. And Amber herself, living a lie. Yes, I'm willing. Archer nodded slowly. Then let's do this right. Marcus, I'll need all your documentation. Drew, you'll need to attend a briefing on wire protocol. And both of you need to understand, once we start this, we don't stop. No matter what they say, what they threaten, what they offer, we see it through to the end. Agreed, I said. We spent the next 3 hours going over evidence. Bank records, text messages, emails, social media posts. Archer had resources we didn't, access to federal databases, surveillance footage, phone records. He showed us conversations between Lisa and Shane about marks and targets. Messages from Stacy coaching Lisa on what to say to men she was scamming. They're not even subtle about it, Marcus observed. They've gotten away with it for so long. They've stopped being careful, Archer said. That's our advantage. By the time we left the FBI office, I felt like I'd been through a war. But I also felt something else. Hope. Real hope that justice might actually happen. The DNA results arrived 5 days later. I was in my office when Marcus called. It's what we expected. Zero paternity match. You are definitively not Amber's father. I closed my eyes, felt relief wash over me. I'd known it, but having proof was different. Send it to Lisa. Already done. Court-sealed copy went to her and her lawyer this morning. Does she have a lawyer? As of yesterday. Some bottom feeder named Eric Abbott. Works in strip mall office. Specializes in personal injury and family court. Has he called you? Not yet, but he will. Eric Abbott called an hour later. His voice was nasal, irritating. Mr. Webb? This is Eric Abbott, representing Lisa McClure. I've reviewed the paternity results, and my client maintains that there must have been a mistake in the testing. There was no mistake. The test was court-ordered, administered by a licensed facility, and the results are conclusive. Nevertheless, my client insists. Your client is a fraud. She's been using my client's identity for 13 years. We have documentation of welfare fraud, tax fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy. Unless Ms. McClure is prepared to make a full confession and restitution, we're pursuing federal charges. A pause. Federal charges seem extreme. Do they? Because the FBI disagrees. Special Agent Young Archer would be happy to discuss it with you. Another pause, longer this time. Perhaps we could work something out. A settlement. Tell Lisa I'm willing to discuss terms. In person. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. at the coffee shop where we met last time. She can bring you. She can bring Shane. But she shows up, or the FBI moves forward without negotiation. I'll relay the message. After he hung up, I called Archer. They took the bait. Good. Come to the office at noon tomorrow. We'll fit you with a wire and go over protocols. The next morning, Preston briefed me on personal safety. If things go sideways, this code word means get out immediately. Rainfall. Say it in a sentence. Any sentence, and we extract you. You'll be nearby, right outside. Archer's team will be in a van with monitoring equipment. If they try anything physical, we'll be there in seconds. What if they search me for a wire? The technology is good, but if they find it, you get out. Don't try to be a hero. Archer's tech fitted me with a device so small I could barely feel it. It looked like a shirt button, broadcast quality audio. Don't touch it, the tech warned. Don't think about it. Act natural. Easy for you to say. You'll be fine. We've done this hundreds of times. At 1:45 p.m., I walked into the Bluebird Cafe. I ordered coffee, sat at the same corner table as before. My heart hammered. My palms sweated. I forced myself to breathe normally. Lisa arrived at 2:03 with Shane and Eric Abbott. They sat across from me, a unified front. Let's make this quick, Eric said. What are you proposing? $50,000. In exchange for a full confession, signed documents admitting to fraud, and repayment of all money Lisa has collected using my identity. Lisa's eyes went wide. $50,000. It's a generous offer, I said. More than generous, considering what you've done. Drew, Lisa's voice turned pleading. I never meant for it to go this far. It started as just, I was desperate, I needed help, and I thought, save it. I know about Malcolm. I know about Devin. I know about all of them. Shane leaned forward. You know about all of who? Every man Lisa's targeted. Every identity she's stolen. Every lie she's told. I looked at Shane directly. And I know you've been helping her. You and your sister. Shane's expression went cold. I don't know what you're talking about. Stacy Hess. Your sister. Living in Lisa's building. Running her own cons, sharing bank accounts with you both. I pulled out my phone, showed him photos Preston had taken. You're all in this together. Eric Abbott started to sweat. My client has no knowledge of. Your client is lying. And unless she wants to spend the next 10 years in federal prison, she'll take this deal. Lisa looked at Shane, panic in her eyes. He shook his head slightly. We're not admitting to anything, Shane said. You can't prove. I can prove all of it. Bank records, text messages, recorded phone calls. The FBI has been building a case for months. This is your one chance to come clean and minimize the damage. The FBI? Lisa's voice cracked. Special Agent Young Archer. Financial Crimes Division. He's very interested in your business model. Shane stood abruptly. We're done here. Lisa, let's go. Wait. Lisa grabbed his arm. Shane, what if he's telling the truth? What if they really have evidence? They're bluffing. Are we? I pulled out another photo. This one showed Shane entering the storage unit. What's in the storage unit, Shane? Evidence you're trying to hide. His face went white. Sit down, I said quietly. Let's talk like adults. Shane sat slowly. Eric Abbott looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. Here's what's going to happen, I continued. Lisa takes this deal. She signs a confession. She returns every penny. Shane and Stacy do the same. Or all three of you get charged federally. Identity theft carries up to 15 years. Fraud adds another 10. Conspiracy? That's extra. You can't do this to us, Lisa whispered. What about Amber? What happens to her? That's your concern, not mine. You should have thought about that before you spent 13 years lying. She's just a child. Who deserves better than you? The words came out harder than I intended. Amber deserves a mother who doesn't use her as a weapon. She deserves the truth. Lisa started crying. Real tears this time, not the performance from before. I didn't know what else to do. I was so young when I got pregnant, and Owen was in jail, and I didn't have money. So you decided to frame innocent men instead of getting a real job? I had no sympathy left. You're not a victim, Lisa. You're a criminal. Shane put his arm around her. We need time to think about this. You have 24 hours. After that, the FBI moves forward regardless. And if we take the deal, reduced charges, restitution plans, probation instead of prison, maybe talk to your lawyer. I looked at Eric Abbott, though I'd recommend getting a better one. Abbott's face turned red. Mr. Holland, I don't care what you appreciate. Tell your client to take the deal or don't. But time's running out. I stood, left money for my coffee on the table, and walked out. Outside, Preston fell in a step beside me. That was ballsy. Did they buy it? We'll see. The recording is clear. They didn't admit to anything directly, but Shane's reaction to the storage unit photo was telling. Archer's team is moving to secure a warrant for it right now. What do you think they're hiding? Documents, probably. Forged paperwork, stolen identities, lists of marks. Evidence they can't explain away. We reached my car. I leaned against it, suddenly exhausted. You did good in there, Preston said. Kept your cool, stayed on message. That's hard when someone's lying to your face. I wanted to punch Shane so badly. I know, but this way is better. This way they go to prison. I drove home with the wire still on, listening to Archer's team discuss the meeting through my earpiece. They were pleased. The conversation had given them enough to justify expanding their investigation. By the end of the week, they have warrants for Lisa, Shane, and Stacy's homes, phones, and financial records. The trap was set. Now we just had to wait for them to spring it themselves. They didn't wait long. At 3 a.m., my phone rang. Lisa, sobbing hysterically. Drew, please, you have to help us. Shane's gone crazy. He's saying we need to leave, disappear, but I can't take Amber out of school, and what about my job? Lisa, slow down. What's happening? He found your wire. He knows you were recording. He's destroying everything. Our phones, our computers. He says the FBI will arrest us any minute. Are you safe? I don't know. He's scaring me, Drew. I think he might hurt someone. Where are you? At the apartment. Shane's in the storage unit. He said he's getting rid of evidence, but he's been gone for hours. Lisa, listen to me. Take Amber and leave the apartment right now. Go somewhere public. A hotel, your parents' house, anywhere. I can't just leave. Yes, you can. If Shane's destroying evidence, he's desperate. Desperate people do desperate things. A crash in the background. Lisa screamed. Lisa, my heart raced. Lisa, are you okay? He's back. Oh God, Drew, he has a gun. He's the call cut off. I immediately dialed Archer. Something's wrong. Shane has a gun. He's at Lisa's apartment. We're already moving. SWAT's been on standby since yesterday. They'll be there in 5 minutes. Lisa and Amber are inside. I know. We'll get them out. Stay on the line. The longest 5 minutes of my life. I listened to radio chatter through Archer's phone. SWAT team deploying. Neighbors being evacuated. Shane refusing to come out. Then, we have visual on 2 females. Adult and juvenile. Both appear unharmed. Subject barricaded in bedroom with duffel bag. Move in, Archer ordered. Non-lethal if possible. More radio chatter. Flashbangs. Shouting. Then, finally, subject in custody. 2 females secured. All clear. I sag with relief. Drew. Archer's voice. It's over. They're all safe. What happens now? Now we process the scene. And you should probably get some sleep. This is going to be a long few days. I couldn't sleep. Instead, I drove to Lisa's apartment complex, parked across the street. Police lights illuminated everything. I saw Lisa and Amber being led out, wrapped in blankets. Paramedics checked them over. Shane was in handcuffs, shouting something I couldn't hear. Then I saw something that made my stomach turn. They were bringing out boxes from the apartment. Dozens of boxes. More than one person's fraud could account for. Archer came over to my car. You shouldn't be here. What did you find? Everything. Documents, IDs, credit cards, bank statements. Shane was running at least a dozen different scams simultaneously. Lisa was his main accomplice, but there were others. We're going to be unraveling this for months. How bad is it? Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Maybe over $1 million. This is bigger than we thought. He paused. Lisa's cooperating. She's giving up everyone. Shane, Stacy, even people we didn't know about. In exchange for what? Reduced sentence. Witness protection, maybe. She's terrified of Shane now. Says he threatened to kill her and Amber if she talked. I thought about the girl in the blanket, traumatized and confused. What happens to Amber? Child services. Temporary foster care until we can locate a suitable guardian. What about Owen Coyle? Her real father. He's being released next month on parole. If he wants her and passes background checks, she could go to him. Does she know yet? About the paternity test. Not officially, but kids aren't stupid. She knows something's very wrong. I watched Amber sitting in the back of an ambulance, staring at nothing. 13 years old, and her entire world had just collapsed. Can I talk to her? I asked. Archer hesitated. Why? Because she deserves to hear from me that none of this was her fault. 5 minutes, and I'll be right there. We walked over. Amber looked up as we approached, her eyes red from crying. Hi, Amber, I said gently. Do you remember me? You're not my dad, she said flatly. No, I'm not, but I am someone who cares about what happens to you. Why? You don't even know me. You're right, but I know what it's like to be lied to have your whole world turned upside down. I crouched down to her level, and I know that none of this is your fault. My mom said you abandoned us. I didn't. I didn't even know you existed until a week ago. She studied me, trying to decide if I was lying too. Why did she say those things? I don't know. People do bad things sometimes for reasons that don't make sense. Is she going to jail? I don't know. Maybe. And me? Where do I go? I don't know that either. But there are people who will make sure you're taken care of. Amber's face crumpled. I don't understand why this is happening. I know, and I wish I could explain it. But Amber, I waited until she looked at me. You're going to be okay. Eventually. It might take time, and it might be hard, but you're going to be okay. How do you know? Because you're stronger than you think. And because you deserve better than what you've had. A social worker approached, said they needed to take Amber to the intake facility. I stood, watched her walk away with a stranger, her whole life in shambles. Archer put a hand on my shoulder. You did the right thing. Did I? That girl just lost everything. She lost lies. Now, she has a chance at truth. I hope he was right. The next week was a blur of depositions, statements, and interviews. Lisa's cooperation led to the arrest of Stacy Hess and 4 other people involved in their network. Shane Kaplan was charged with 23 counts of fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy. He'd faced decades in prison. Lisa's sentencing hearing was scheduled for 6 months out, pending her full cooperation with federal investigators. In the meantime, she was free on bail, but monitored constantly. Malcolm Hogan got his money back, or at least the government seized enough of Lisa's assets to provide restitution. Devin Hardin's credit was being repaired. The other victims Archer had identified were being contacted one by one, offered a chance to join the civil suit. And me? I was vindicated. My name cleared. My identity restored. But it felt hollow. I met Celeste for dinner at an Italian place downtown. She raised her wine glass. To justice served. I clink my glass against hers. To justice. You don't sound happy. I am. I think. It's just. I struggled to articulate. Every time I close my eyes, I see Amber's face. That girl lost her mother because of me. She lost a liar because of truth, Celeste corrected. There's a difference. Is there? She's 13. She doesn't care about truth and lies. She cares that her mom's gone and her whole life is upside down. Drew, you didn't do this to her. Lisa did. You just exposed it. I knew she was right, but it didn't ease the guilt. Have you heard anything about her? Celeste asked gently. Owen Coyle is being released next month. His lawyer petitioned for custody. If he gets it, Amber would go to him. The drug dealer father? That's better. He's been clean for 5 years. Model prisoner. And according to his lawyer, he's been fighting to be part of Amber's life since he found out she existed. I push food around my plate. At least he's her real father. At least that's one truth in all the lies. You could stay involved, Celeste suggested. Visit her, check in. Make sure she's okay. I'm a stranger to her. You're the stranger who told her the truth when everyone else lied. Later that night, I got a call from an unknown number. Owen Coyle's lawyer. Mr. Holland? This is Jamie Hoover. I represent Owen Coyle. I wanted to thank you for what you've done. Without your investigation, my client would never have known his daughter was being kept from him. I didn't do it for him. I know, but he's grateful anyway. And he wanted me to ask if you'd consider meeting with him when he's released. He'd like to shake your hand. Why? Because you gave him back his daughter. Owen Coyle was not what I expected. Thin, tattooed, with gray streaking his dark hair. But his eyes were clear, and when he shook my hand, his grip was firm. Mr. Holland, thank you for coming. We sat in a meeting room at a halfway house where Owen was staying post-release. His lawyer and a parole officer were present. I wanted to meet the man who saved my daughter, Owen said, even if she doesn't know it yet. I'm not sure I saved her. I might have made everything worse. You exposed the truth. That's saving someone. Owen leaned forward. Do you know what it's like to have a child and not be able to see her? To know she exists but be kept away? Lisa did that to me. For 13 years. Why did she keep you away? Because I was in prison. Because I had a record. Because she wanted to use Amber to get money from other men. His jaw tightened. I made mistakes. I went to prison for them. But I loved Lisa. When I found out she was pregnant, I was happy. Then she got that restraining order, told the courts I was dangerous. I couldn't fight it from inside. But you tried. Every chance I got. Every time I came up for review, I petitioned for visitation rights. Every time I was denied. He pulled out a folder, showed me letters. Dozens of letters, addressed to Amber, but returned unopened. I wrote her every week. Lisa sent them all back. I looked at the letters, felt something shift. Owen wasn't a monster. He was a father kept from his child. What happens now? I asked. Custody hearing next month. My lawyer thinks we have a strong case, especially with Lisa's criminal charges. But there's opposition. From who? Lisa's mother, Maureen Hines. She's petitioning for custody too. Says I'm unfit because of my record. Are you? Fit, I mean. Owen met my eyes. I've been clean for 5 years. I've completed every rehabilitation program the prison offered. I have a job lined up, a sponsor, an apartment. And I have something else. What? I have a daughter who deserves to know her real father. Not some story. Not some lie. The real thing. His sincerity was undeniable. What do you need from me? I asked. Testify at the hearing. Tell them what Lisa did. How she lied. How she used Amber. Help me show the judge that keeping us apart was wrong. You want me to help you get custody? I want you to help my daughter get truth. If that means she comes to me, great. If it means she's better off with someone else, then that's what needs to happen. But at least let it be based on facts, not Lisa's lies. I thought about it. About Amber. About truth. About the role I'd played in dismantling her life. Okay, I said. I'll testify. Owen's face broke into a smile. Thank you. Thank you so much. Don't thank me yet. I'm going to tell the truth. All of it. Including that Amber might be traumatized by all of this. That's all I ask. The custody hearing was intense. Maureen Hines was a bitter woman who blamed everyone but her daughter for the situation. She painted Owen as a violent criminal, me as a vengeful ex-boyfriend, and herself as the only stable option for Amber. Your Honor, her lawyer argued, my client has been in Amber's life consistently. She's provided care, support, and stability. Mr. Coyle is fresh out of prison. Mr. Holland is a stranger with no parental rights. Ms. Hines is the clear choice. When it was my turn to testify, I laid out everything. The fraud, the lies, the victims. I explained how Lisa had systematically isolated Amber from her real father while exploiting her for financial gain. And what is your interest in this case, Mr. Holland? The judge asked. I have no legal interest, I admitted, but I have a moral one. Amber deserves to know the truth about her family. She deserves a chance at a real relationship with her real father, if Owen Coyle can provide that. Why do you believe he can? Because unlike everyone else in Amber's life, he's been fighting for her. Not fighting to use her, not fighting to control the narrative. Just fighting to be her dad. Owen testified next. He was nervous, stumbling over words, but honest. He talked about his mistakes, his time in prison, his sobriety. He talked about the letters he'd written, the petitions he'd filed, the years he'd lost. If I get custody, he said, I promise I'll do right by her. I'll get her therapy, make sure she goes to school, be there for her. I just want a chance to be her father. Then Amber testified. She was scared, confused, angry. But when the judge asked her what she wanted, she said something that surprised everyone. I want to know the truth. About everything. About who my dad really is. About why my mom lied. About all of it. She looked at Owen. I don't know you, but I want to. The judge took a week to decide. When the ruling came down, Owen got custody with supervised visitation for the first 6 months. Maureen Hines got visitation rights. And Lisa, pending her sentencing, got nothing. Owen called me when he heard. We did it. Thank you, Drew. Thank you so much. Take care of her. I will. I promise. 3 months later, I ran into them at a park. Owen was teaching Amber to fly a kite, both of them laughing when it tangled in a tree. They looked happy. Not perfect, but happy. Amber saw me first. She whispered something to Owen, then walked over. Hi, Mr. Holland. Hi, Amber. How are you doing? Okay, I guess. Therapy helps. And Owen, she glanced back at him, my dad is pretty cool. I'm glad. I'm sorry I was mean to you. At the school. You weren't mean. You were defending what you thought was true. But it wasn't true. No, but you didn't know that. She nodded slowly. My therapist says it's okay to be mad at my mom. That I don't have to forgive her right away. Your therapist is right. Are you mad at her? Sometimes. But mostly I'm just glad you're safe now. Amber looked at me with those hazel eyes that had seen too much. Thank you for telling the truth. Even though it sucked. I laughed despite myself. Yeah, it did suck, but it was better than the lies. It was. She hugged me quickly, then ran back to Owen. I watched them struggle with the kite for another moment, then walked away. Lisa McClure was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. With good behavior, she'd be out in 5. Shane Kaplan got 23 years. Stacey Hess got 15. The others in their network got varying sentences based on their involvement. Malcolm Hogan started a support group for fraud victims. Devin Hardin wrote a book about his experience. The other victims rebuilt their lives one day at a time. And me? I went back to my architecture firm, my normal life. But I wasn't the same person who'd gotten that phone call weeks ago. I learned something about truth, about justice, about the cost of both. 6 months after the sentencing, I got a letter from Amber. Dear Mr. Holland, my therapist says I should write to people who help me, even if it's hard. So here goes. I'm doing better. My dad, my real dad, Owen, is teaching me guitar. He's actually pretty good. We moved to a better apartment, and I started at a new school. People don't know about my mom here, which is nice. I'm still mad at her sometimes. Mad that she lied, mad that she used me, mad that everything was fake. But my therapist says that's normal. What's weird is I'm not mad at you. I thought I would be. You're the one who exposed everything. But you were also the first person to tell me the truth. And I guess I needed that. My dad says you testified at the custody hearing, that you helped him get custody of me. I wanted to say thank you for that. He's not perfect, but he's real. And real is better than perfect. Anyway, I don't really know how to end this. My therapist says I don't have to have all the answers. I just have to be honest. So here's me being honest. Thank you. For everything. Even the hard parts. Amber. I kept that letter on my desk. Some days I looked at it and felt proud. Other days I looked at it and felt guilt. Most days I felt both. But I also felt something else. Something that made all of it worth it. I felt like I'd done the right thing. And in a world full of lies, sometimes that's enough. And there you have it. Another story comes to an end. What did you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this story, consider joining our community by subscribing. It means the world to us. For more stories like this one, check out the recommended videos on screen. And I'll see you there.